Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Cubezella. We're here with some more news. This is the devs Q&A for the family trees and everything that went up today. They hosted it in the Discord, and then I am on Sims Community's blog post page right now going over all the questions because they are awesome and compile it all for us. So, I don't have to do that myself. So, ta-ta for them for being awesome. We're going to read out everything here. And there's a whole bunch of families that were updated with lineage in the update. A lot of them, like the Altos, the Landgrabs, the Goths, I believe maybe the Werewolves family. I think there was a couple other families. I can't remember. There's quite a bit with some, updates. They have taken all the questions and put it all together like they have before. I'm going to go through that, but don't forget to also subscribe if you guys do enjoy this video. It does help me keep doing this type of stuff, so it's very exciting. Anyways, let's get on to it. Question: thank you for doing this. I want to know if the new family tree will prevent adopted children and friendly science babies to be viewed as a scandal by the new pack. That's a good question. Xenia said, adopting children and or having a science baby does not count as a scandal, which is really good. We don't want that to be scandalous. Question: how far up, down does the family tree now reach? Great-grandparent, child? I don't know how to say Fiore. Fiore is what I'm going to call them. This is Sim Dev. They said, hello, we have expanded it up to 10 generations of Sims, 5 above and 5 below your current selected Sim. So not as much as we would like, but it's still something. Question: you're adding step parents, but they were already there. How does this new addition work? Azur said, we're adding a step parent as a proper label in the family tree. Previously, they weren't described this way in the game. Are aunts and uncles and cousins added? Xenia says, yes, all of them are. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, distant relative-in-law, half-sister, half-brother, stepmother, stepfather, stepdaughter, stepson, great-grandmother, great-grandfather, step-grandson, great-granddaughter, parents, cousin, cousin's child, grandniece, grandnephew, grandaunt, granduncle, ancestor, descendant, and relative-in-law. Divorce has a new name, ex-spouse, and deceased spouse has a new name, late spouse. Okay, makes sense. Will a in-law relationship be included on the family tree? Fiora said yes, the family tree will now show in-law relationships. Question: will any pre-made Sims get expanded family trees like ancestors, goths, and great candidates for it? Or Joni Zest is going to be joining the land grab officially in the tree? We already knew that. Xenia says yes, goths and land grabs got it, but only for new saves. They will have ancestors and dynasties with values. We don't have a dynasty yet. Someone said, but they don't show up on the family tree. And Fiore answered, aunts and uncles will now show as a label in the family tree. Question: hello, I would like to know whether the family tree will display titles for a spouse's family members. Xenia says, yeah, if you mouse over, you will see their titles. Question: what about new family tree? Sir said, the family tree has been updated with new relationship labels. Extended family members will now be shown in the family tree, and players can also choose whether adopted Sims are labeled as such in the family tree. Okay, that's nice. That's a nice touch. Question: is adoption being altered at all? Like the relationship between an adopter or adoptee being distinct from biological parent and child relationships? Xenia says no, except for some bit of text in the moodlet or two. The relationship is the same. Question: will the family tree update come onto my older saves? Not bother about the pre-made Sims as I deleted them anyways, but I make my own. Xenia said yes, it will. Regardless if they were pre-mades or not, you will see the expanded family tree if the Sims information is there, meaning if your save file didn't call them from the game in the past. Question: how does forging trees work? Will we be able to see aunts and uncles now? Azur said yes, you'll be able to see aunts and uncles, and the forging tree specifically for royalty and legacy. Your Sims can fake family ties, lie about them, by using the forging interaction on the family tree tapestry object. Question: is there a way to go into the legacy dynasty screen and change things around on previous saves? You can, Xenia said, you can change things around by performing forgery in the family tree, but that can have your Sims end up in a scandal. Oof. Question: how far in the family tree do you have to be for romance interactions to work? Royalty historically married their distant cousins or even their first cousins. Why are we asking that? Like, they were, this is the fix to it, isn't it? Fiore said, we have done a big update here, and you actually will no longer be able to romance ancestors that are directly connected to you in a vertical line. This only applies to new relationships in your save file. If you have a sim dating an ancestor in an existing save file, we won't break that relationship up. That's okay, good. Question, will you be able to view whether a sim was adopted? Also, is setting that an option in cast when creating a family? Xenia said you can if you enable the setting in gameplay settings. By default, it's disabled. Okay, that's kind of fun. Question, is the baby daddy choosing only available in new DLC? Azure said, yes, this is specific to the Secret Child feature, which is part of the Royalty and Legacy, not base game. Question, will pets be in the family tree, or is that just specifically sim-related? LOL. No, pets and humans are separate. Sorry, Xenia says. Question, hi, will we be able to see family relationships by marriage, sister-in-law? Azure said, yes, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, daughter-in-law, and son-in-law. Question, can we assign these new roles in casts? Xenia said, no, we didn't add these to casts. So if you wanted your sim to have a cousin, you should set up aunts, uncles who have kids. Okay, makes sense, I guess. Question, can a sim have biological and adopted parents at the same time? Xenia says, yes. Okay, that's really cool then. Are the changes retroactive, or will they only apply to new relationships? The family tree updates are retroactive, Azure said. For the person who asked if adopting erases their existing parental relationships, no, but it will require the sim that is getting adopted to have less than 2 parents to start with, including a dead parent. Question, will the new family tree show the old spouse if someone dies and remarries? Sim Azure says, yes, and we've updated the name from the deceased spouse to late spouse. PRA says, romance is not allowed between cousins. This was already in the case. But you can now romance an in-law or step relative as you are not actually related by blood. We're aware that in most scenarios this feels icky, so we made sure that the Sims will no longer autonomously start flirting with in-laws and step relatives. This helps ensure that your Sims will keep their platonic relationships as such. However, if you love drama and actively want to make your Sim flirt with an in-law, you totally can do that. Makes for a very typical telenovela plot. Yes, it does. Question, will the family tree show who was adopted and who was not? Sim Fiore says there'll be an option in settings to choose whether, yeah. So we already went over that one. Question, does the new family tree keep the person's portrait if they are an ancestor from a long time ago? In my saves, it usually deletes the grandparents unless they are ghosts or occults. Xenia said, check your calling settings. It seems that you might have it set to low if your game is removing portraits of deceased Sims. Question, this may be more of a dynasties question than a family tree question. Can Sims find more found families or chosen families be represented in family trees of dynasties in the selecting heirs? Azure said, dynasty members can only be Sims related by family ties or marriage. If you like to create a found chosen family story, you can now add adults into your family by adopting them, which is weird, but okay. It's interesting. I want to see more gameplay on that one. Question, how do male Sims have illegitimate children? Xenia says, if you make a sim pregnant with your male sim, you will not be able to lie about your tie to the baby. If you switch control of the pregnant sim, however, you can choose from the adoption the father that best suits the story you want to tell. Question, will Miss Crumplebottom be in the goth tree? Xenia says, yes, the goth family tree net is now pretty big. They did miss Agatha Crumplebottom though, which is kind of crazy because like, what? How do you forget that? Question, do we have step siblings? Yes, it is now recognized relationship and it will appear. That, again, a lot of repetitive questions, unfortunately. Question, what the button show legend is for the family tree window? Xenia says it explains what the different lines, portraits, shapes, and icons mean. Dotted line is secret baby, 2 rings, married, etc. It's the same question again. But Fiore says the show legend button shows a legend of all the new icons and different types of connecting lines for your family tree. If you have royalty and legacy, you'll be able to see unique icons in the tree that show your dynasty and who the Sims belongs to, their normal ranking, as well as any special connections to other Sims. For instance, Sims in the same dynasty will have different type of connecting line. Also, in royalty and legacy, you'll be able to forge. Will a long lost relative that show up in the growing together genealogy search now show up in your family tree? Azure said, no, there's no proof that Kyle is actually related to anyone. Let him into your Sim's home at your own risk. That is hilarious. Question, are Dustin Broke and Skip Broke in the same family tree? Xenia says they are, and now it's not only the Brokes. All families will be linked to the tree properly now. I'd like to know what that means. how many other families, because the people have been like dissecting it, but we don't know how many families there are out there that we still haven't connected yet. Question, is there a way to add a friend to your family tree without marrying them or adopting them? Xenia said no, friends do not appear in the family trees. Yeah, I don't know why they would. Question, we will see the family tree in the pre-made Sims other members from other packs. This is an important one for sure. We have done a big pass of updates to include family connection between Sims from different packs that are intended to be related by lore. We're a bunch of massive lore nerds. You will see those connections in a new save file if you have both packs. Those Sims come from, such as Lily Zoo and the Vators. Yeah, so that's the werewolves. I cannot believe they forgot Agatha Crumple Bottom, though. That is so shocking. It's like they forgot they even made her. Question, if the parents of step-siblings divorce, does the relationship go away? Or like with the ex-spouse, does it say, would it be siblings label also change? Okay, I get this, what they're saying there. Is it going to change if they divorce? Fiore says step-relative relationships will go away if the divorce between the Sims, that connection is gone. Okay, got it. Question, will the family tree update come onto our older saves? Not bother about the pre-made Sims? Yeah. So Zer said yes. We already know that. Question, for those households that got updated with ancestors, will the ghosts be in our game with the possibility of us playing with them? Or is it just for the family tree? Xenia says no, there is a limit of Sims that we can add with each pack. And ghosts count as Sims too. So they're just portraits in the family tree. They will not have tombstones or will be eligible for resurrection, unfortunately. Okay, good. I like that. Question, is there a way to go into Legacy Dynasty screens and change things around on previous saves? Sim Zer says, you can create dynasties for your old Zer saves. Question, sometimes the Sim data can get called if the save gets too big. Will the ancestor data be protected or yeeted? Xenia says, when a Sim is called, we protect their portrait, name, and other cosmetic bits, but not the proper ID, meaning you cannot resurrect them or find their ghosts wandering, but they're in the tree for prosperity. Okay, thank God. Question, this may be stupid, but will ghosts of past Sims still be in the family tree? We will have to see things such as the traits, jobs, etc. Fiore says, ghosts will appear on the family tree. You will not see all details of a Sim of the family tree. Their traits will not show, for instance. Question, how will it show if the immortal Sim is still alive and goes back further than 5 generations? Yeah, that makes sense. Xenia says, as usual, the portrait of the Sim will be in color instead of black and white. I don't think that's what they meant, but okay. Question, will girlfriends and boyfriends be added to the family tree? No. I already know that. Xenia says, no, they only show up in marriage. Question, does the tapestry allow you to form found family connections and add people not related? And Fiore says, forging connection via the tapestry is to have a false connection. It can lead to a scandal if found. It's the kind of thing you would want to do if your Sim is social climber and they want to fake their way to the noble family. But in Royalty and Legacy, we have also added the option to adopt Sims regardless of the age to give another way to build a found family. Question, also, how do you adopt another Sim? Do you have to have a certain level of friendship with them? Fiore says, yes, you need to have a high level of friendship with them. Then it will appear as an option when you interact with a Sim in the pie menu. Question, out of curiosity, what is culling and when does it happen? Xenia says, the game keeps a recommended amount of Sims in your save file. Max is 200, but recommended may be varied depending on your PC. To keep the simulation running smoothly, if the cap is reached, the game will try to erase the IDs that have some inactivity in order to keep the save file healthy to speak. Question, so my guess is if you upload Sims to the gallery, their family tree is wiped if someone downloads the household right, only showing the Sims in the household. Xenia says, that's correct. We only keep their information upon upload. Got it. Question, how can you find someone else's scandal? By breaking inside the snooping? Azura said, you can find another Sim secret scandals by asking mutual Sims if they know the target Sim secrets, rummaging through trash, buying secrets from the info broker website, or witnessing a secret as it's happening, catching them in the act. Question, so young adult can be the parent of another adult. Not quite, Fiore says. There's still a restriction on the adoptive parent having to be at least one age bracket older than their adopted child. Makes sense. I'm really interested to know Princess Cornelia's family tree and how far it goes. Do they mean Cordelia or is it Cornelia? Okay, I think it's Cordelia. Simazur said pretty fair. You'll be able to see how Cordelia's family tree connects with Tybalt caps. So intriguing with that. Question. In the new pack, Royalty and Legacy have new interactions with the family tree. What does it do in gameplay? Fiore says, in Royalty and Legacy specifically, you can forge false family connections between unrelated Sims via the family tree tapestry. You can also establish another Sim as your secret lover once you have a flirt going on with them. And if you have a child outside of your official relationship, you can lie about their real parent and have such a secret child, as all these details will be visible in the family tree, which is very exciting. Drama, scandal, love it. Question. Will the family tree show the vampire relationship between a spawn and a maker? Azenia says no. We figured vampire spawns should not be part of the family tree in case they were romantically involved before being turned into vampire. Valid. Yeah. Question. Will the family tree in Terratosa Arnessa Thebes family connect to Cordelia Thebe? Ooh, okay, yeah. We got an answer, and that is yes. Okay, wow, that's going to be crazy. Okay, that's going to be a big family tree right there. Question. When a family description mentions a deceased family member, they're not currently shown in the family tree. Will this update make them appear? Xenia says, if the only families we created ancestors for are the Goths, the Landgrabs, the Thebes, the Cabs, the Monis, and the Daragons. It's wrong, sorry. I think there's more, though. Question. Can you use the Forge connection item to remove yourself from a family tree? Like if you wanted to run away from your family and pressure of the dynasty? Fiore says, forging connection is specifically to create new fake connections, which could only be one day discovered and lead to scandal. You won't be able to use it to escape your family. Okay. Got it. Question. Anyway, sorry to repeat this question, but clones will be shown in family tree. I asked because I was wondering if Vlad is one of the first vampires, so is he showing as a sibling to the spellcaster? Xenia says, clones made using the cloning machine from the scientist's career will show in the family tree as usual. In the form of sibling, no lore updates were given to Vlad. One of my favorite Sims. Aww. Which does, unfortunately, kind of suck. They definitely, I think, need a few more lore tidbits because I think they missed out a few things. But, maybe they'll update it. Probably not because they're lazy. But let me know what you guys think about this whole family tree thing and the update. I know the update was a mess today and it was kind of crazy. But I haven't even had a chance to log in. I'm literally filming this at 11 p.m. and I have another video film and I have to edit it before I go to bed. So bear with me. If you guys made it to this part of the video, please put a crown in chat so I know. I would really love it if you guys did. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I'll see you guys in the next video and keep on simming.